Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight episode for Stevens versus Choi. However, it's also episode about breaking MMA news that just hit recently, and big shocker, and I will save it for the end of this episode. Post-fight rundown on the main card first. Let's get started. So Stevens versus Choi, the main event, UFC Fight Night main event. Featherweight clash, Jeremy Stevens versus Ho Choi. And I thought Choi would take him out early in this fight, but man, I was wrong on this one. Jeremy Stevens did his thing and TKO punches and elbows round 2, roughly midway into the second round. And this was a good fight. Had a good attendance record too. Good attendance, over 10,000 for this main event. Pretty good for a fight night. And Jeremy Stevens did his thing, and he's a long-time durable veteran in the UFC, and he definitely keeps it up in the top 10 featherweight division. And I think either Josh Emmett or Brian Ortega should be next for Jeremy Stevens. Choi has not lived up to the hype like I thought he was, but I think if you give him someone outside the top 15, I think Choi can rebound from this loss and start building up his career again, and also get some more experience. Choi, I mean, he looked okay in parts of this fight, but Stevens, you could see the experience played advantage for Stevens in this fight, and he knew how to handle the hard shots of Choi. And this was a fun main event, and a good job for Jeremy Stevens, staying in the top 10 ranking after a big win like this. Then in the co-main event in the women's flyweight division, we had Jessica Rose Clark versus Paige Vanzant. This was Jessica Rose Clark picking apart Paige pretty much all the rounds. This fight was a good striking clinic from Jessica, and she kept things going. And this was just a great fight for Jessica Rose Clark, a big high-profile win for her. And she won 30-27 and 29-28 and 29-28 unanimous decision. This was, definitely a fight where people will know who Jessica Rose Clark is now if you didn't already know who she was. And, Paige Vanzant, I think, needs to go back to the drawing board and possibly go back to Team Alpha Male. I think she has talent. She just needs the best coaches right now to help guide her. Then in the welterweight division, we had Kamar Usman versus Emil Weber Mech, and this was just a grappling war through and through. Kamar Usman using his killer wrestling, winning by unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. Took him down constantly every round, pretty much, and did his thing, and en route to a unanimous decision win, ground and pounding Emil. And Kamar Usman, I think, should fight Colby Covington next. I think that would be a great fight at welterweight. Then, also in the featherweight division, also on the main card, we had Darren Elkins, the Damage Elkins, versus Michael Johnson. And this was a great submission rear naked choke win for Darren Elkins. And Darren Elkins is looking good. He's on a big win streak, and Team Alpha Male is really doing a good job with him. And Darren Elkins, people forget, Darren Elkins been fighting the UFC for years and years at this point, and he's definitely earned his spot in the rankings, and he's fought tough competition. And you could argue maybe Darren Elkins versus Jeremy Stevens. People are maybe forgetting about that. And that wraps up the post-fight show for this one. And then the big breaking news, Matt Brown's not retiring. He is fighting Carlos Condit at a UFC event in April. And I was shocked. I thought Carlos Condit was going to retire, and I also thought Matt Brown was going to retire, so they're both fighting. And they're both fighting each other, and it looks like it's going to be It's set in April at a UFC event. And so there you have it. That wraps up this one. And stay tuned in the coming days for my pre-fight show for UFC 220, Miocic versus Ngannou, and Cormier versus Volkan Ozdemir. And until then, see ya.